Hello everyone, I will be discussing my marketing plan for Brown involving termination fittings. Termination fittings fall into the industry category of HVAC, which stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. This industry has been profitable over the past few years, but has seen a very slow sales growth rate at only 1.6% annually. Over the next 5 years, it is projected to be about 2% annually, but still this is a fairly slow sales growth rate. There are many environmental factors Brown should take into consideration, which involve changes in technology, the economy, and regulations. Something Brown needs to take advantage of is the changes in technology, because there is definitely ways to improve your technology to make sure your operations run more efficient and effectively. Another advantage Brown needs to take advantage of is the increasing of housing starts. As you can see on this graph here, housing starts took a dive in 2008, but have been on a steady increase since 2011. The reason Brown should take advantage of this is because the more housing starts there are, the more HVAC needs there will be. Brown has been around since 1932. It has since then been combined with Newtone, creating the name Brown Newtone. From the website, I'll read that Brown Newtone LLC leads the industry with forward-thinking residential ventilation products, customized climate, communication and storage solutions, and superior customer service. Brown Newtone is proud to acknowledge that over 80% of homeowners in the U.S. rely on one or more Brown, Newtone, or Best products every day to provide them with superior air quality and lifestyle conveniences. Brown is responsible for the making of bath and ventilation fans, range hoods, fresh air systems, attic ventilation, and heaters. Since Brown sells B2B, the main retailers that they focus in on are Menards, Lowe's, and Home Depot. Brown considers there to be 4 main competitors within this product line, which consists of Builder's Best, Famco, Air King, and Fantech. Brown really blows its competitors away on a product level due to the multiple kinds of makes and models. On the screen now is the SWOT analysis that was created through my situation analysis in the paper. I really think the key takeaways are in the opportunities box. 1, Brown needs to take advantage of the emerging housing market seen through the housing start trends. 2, Brown should really consider creating better partnerships with some of their retailer stores to help educate some of their salespeople. There are 3 main objectives that are to be completed using this plan. The first one, and the most specific, is to increase Brown's number of unit sales by 500,000 in 2017. 2 is just to increase the amount of awareness that is currently shown through the public. And 3 is to reevaluate if the current target markets that Brown serves are the correct ones. This will all be discussed in the segmentation, positioning, and targeting, which I will be talking about now. The pie chart on the screen shows the major market segmentation within the HVAC industry. Brown really concerns themselves now with the residential construction. However, I would advise they shift their focus to the remodeling market, seeing as this takes up 55%. The remodeling trends are also currently on the rise, and this is something Brown can take advantage of because when people remodel, they usually redo their kitchens or bathrooms, which both involve ventilation. Another pie chart shows the generation mostly involved with remodeling. Baby boomers and Gen X make up the most out of this pie chart, which means that Brown should still try to target this age group. Brown currently worries more about their end consumer. I, however, argue that they should switch their mindset to focus on buyers/retailers, big box store salespeople, and contractors. On the screen now is an image of what Big Box Bill looks like. Big Box Bill is a B2B buyer or retailer from stores like Menards, Lowe's, or Home Depot. He is tasked with choosing the best quality products to be placed in his stores. He is not brand biased yet and therefore is unsure what company to buy his products from. The process that a buyer/retailer would go through is a lot different than what Brown's end consumers use. So therefore it's really important to understand kind of their 3 stages, which I talk about being awareness, consideration, and their ultimate decision. So for Bill's awareness process, he's going to go to a trade show. And while he's walking around at the trade show, he's going to see a bunch of different booths and be most likely intrigued to the booth that's the most decorated and engaging. He also will become more aware of products. The better the salespeople are, the better they're trained at these different booths. So ideally, Bill should stop in at Brown's booth because it's engaging and because the salespeople are really good at what they do. These salespeople should explain that termination fittings are a really quality product and they come from a very awarded company. Ultimately, Bill will probably make his decision because he realizes the benefits that homeowners have because of these termination fittings, which the salespeople will also be discussing with him. And the salespeople will talk about a potential for an incentivized package deal. So for instance, for every ventilation unit that Bill buys that day, he could potentially get a termination fitting for free. Next on the screen is an image of employee Ellie, which is representing our big box store salesperson. Employee Ellie is tasked with helping her customers on the floors of any big box hardware stores. She likes helping people but may not be informed about every product in the store. So just as I took you through Bill's kind of awareness, consideration, decision process, I'll be doing the same with Ellie. So Ellie becomes aware of termination fittings because a customer asks her about it and she unfortunately has no information to give. So that's when she starts to consider, how should I become, why should I care about this product, is because she doesn't like that she has a lack of knowledge. And she also doesn't like that she's not educated about what these termination fittings do, nor how she could really help this customer of hers. So she hears from Big Box Bill that he's going to be hosting a workshop at, say, the Home Depot, where Brown will be sponsoring it, possibly providing lunch, and bringing in salespeople and some engineers to really explain the different products that Brown offers. While she's there at this workshop that Brown puts on, something that they discuss is termination fittings and just how they work and how to educate the general public about how to use them in on a house. So it is also important that Ellie understands a homeowner's decision process because it differs from that of a contractor, which I will be discussing next. So there's kind of 4 steps that homeowners involve themselves with. The first step is deciding on the product. So most likely they don't decide that they need a termination fitting, they'll decide that they need some kind of ventilation product. Then they'll most likely pick what store they want based on their preferences. So say again it's Home Depot, so they look up ventilation, they know they need ventilation, they know they always go to Home Depot, so they're there. They then will gather information most likely from reading labels on products or from talking to the salespeople. And they'll ultimately decide on their product mostly based on the quality and the brand because people in the HVAC industry don't tend to be very price sensitive. The last persona seen on the screen is Contractor Calvin. Contractor Calvin installs all kinds of ventilation systems for homeowners. He is responsible for buying the materials necessary to get the job done. He is unaware of the benefits of termination fittings, however. So, once again, awareness, consideration, decision. So, how does Calvin become aware of the product? Well, he knows it's an accessory for ventilation systems, but he's never really looked into it. However, when he's shopping at one of the big box retailers one day, he happens to see it on a display that Brown, I'm suggesting they should create. He then watches a salesman that puts on an exhibit and talks with him, and that salesman also explains, here are the benefits in having a termination fitting, here's how they work. He may have a little model to show him, and once Calvin does some more research at home, he realizes, this salesman wasn't just selling me, his points were valid, and I think that the homeowners would really appreciate this. So he also reads some good reviews, and his ultimate decision is to go and buy in the store. It is also important to understand the difference between a homeowner's decision process versus a contractor. A contractor, first off, is going to worry about the client's requests. So is there a certain time frame or cost that they care about or any other special accommodations? Then, unlike the homeowners, he's probably going to gather his information before picking a store because he knows what stores have what products available. So he'll gather his information on the products he needs, and then he picks his preferred store based off the product he needs. And then ultimately he decides on his product based off of what he researched, as well as maybe the help of a salesperson, and then also taking into his taking the client's request into his account. The final part to the marketing plan is the marketing mix, which involves product, price, distribution, and promotional strategies that should be implemented going forward with this plan. So starting with the product, Brown already has a pretty extensive product line involved with termination fittings, so I am suggesting no extra product-specific changes. Something that Brown really has going for them is their brand name, so consumers care more about this than having an extra feature or two. Also, the pricing doesn't need to be changed either, because Brown does a good job of placing themselves kind of right in the middle of their competition. And this shows that it's definitely affordable, but they want to make sure that the pricing reflects the quality of the product as well. And the distribution, also, I am suggesting no change, because Brown currently exemplifies an intensive strategy trying to get it into as many stores as possible, and I think that that's really important in creating awareness for this product, is to get it out to as many stores as possible, to get it in as many hands as possible, or end consumers. Brown really needs to focus on the promotional strategies. So I have 4 kind of promotional ideas or concepts that Brown should implement, and the examples of these were kind of given throughout the personas that I had explained. So the first one is to create a more engaging booth at the trade shows. Brown already has, like I said, their reputable name going for them, but maybe those retailers that aren't sure who Brown is, they definitely need to make sure that their booth is engaging and welcoming. And what goes along with having an engaging booth is good salespeople. You need to have people who are educated and understand all of Brown's products, so that if a customer approaches them and asks them what is a termination fitting, they have the answer for that. So it really kind of starts with that for buyers and retailers, which is why that's so important. And then something else for buyers and retailers also involved the Incentivize program that I had talked about earlier as well. So it can be a multitude of different things depending on what Brown would like in specific, but one of them that I'm suggesting is for as many ventilation units as the buyer retailer wants, they'll get that many termination fittings for free. You know, it's a pretty cheap product to create and manufacture, so to give some away to get them into the public's hand, I think is a great promotional strategy. 3, they really need to focus on deciding what retailers to do workshops in. So I know Home Depot already currently does this for the public, but I'm suggesting that Brown talks to some of their individual big box store retailers and see if they can put on a workshop with just their employees at these stores. So it could be like a really early morning thing or a late night thing where the employees get paid, and maybe Brown sponsors it so they bring lunch or dinner, or depending on what time of day it is. But the main point in having a workshop would be to provide these employees with the tools and the necessities they need to really market and sell Brown's products. And in specific, they could focus on termination fittings, saying, you know, this is something that we really want to create awareness of, we really want to increase our sales on this. So, you know, since Brown does sell B2B, they really got to focus on these big box store retailers and less on, like I said, the end consumer. However, since the end consumer is still important, since homeowners and contractors do still shop for these products, a 4th suggestion I'm saying is to create display boxes. So when you go to these big box stores, not only would you have an educated salesperson that could talk about the product and inform these end consumers how to use it, they could also stumble upon it themselves while they're in the ventilation aisle. Maybe there's a glass box and a termination fitting is in there. Then they have different arrows pointing to the key benefits and uses and features that a termination fitting has, as well as they could look up the ventilation that they're purchasing and match it with the correct termination fitting. Over the past 5 years, termination fitting sales have been pretty stagnant and almost hit a plateau. So last year in 2015, Brown did about $3 million in revenue and about $1 million units were sold. So as I stated earlier with my marketing objectives, I would really like to increase the units by 500,000 to say that this plan was successful, and I believe Brown would agree with me as well.
I just wanna be successful. I just wanna be successful.